All right, today we're driving the 2015 Ford Mustang GT. Now, of course, all the press has been made about the Shelby GT350, but this is probably the most powerful car that most people are going to get to drive outside of that, because that's much more expensive. This car has 435 horsepower from a V8 engine, and let's look for a spot to test a little bit of that out. Obviously, we're on public roads. Now, the folks over at Lithia, Ford, and Lincoln in Fresno, California, they were nice enough to lend me this car to drive, to test it out. So we'll see how well it goes. So, of course, the place where you're going to be able to use all that power, or at least some of it, as much as you're going to be able to, is going to be on the freeway. So we're going to get this over on the freeway and take a little loop and see how it handles. This generation Mustang is the first Mustang with independent rear suspension. So I'm interested if we get any turns to see how it goes there. Got a 6-speed manual gearbox, much preferred for just fun of driving. The clutch feels very light on this car. So I'm used to my daily driver, which is a Porsche, and it has a bit of a heavier clutch. So that takes a little bit of getting used to, but if you're not used to that, this will be fine. So far, steering feels good. Put it in first gear, and we're getting ready to head on the freeway and get some of this V8 power going. Quality of the interior, this is just the cloth seats, but it looks pretty good. Styling wise, I think they've done a pretty good job with the updates. At first, when I saw it, I thought it looked like a Ford Fusion, but now looking at it in person instead of on the internet, it actually comes together quite well. It has a bit of a retro look, but not too much, and it's kind of more in line with the rest of Ford's lineup. Here we go. Now we can try out that independent rear suspension a little bit. See if there's no... Woo! This thing moves! It throws you back in the seat like, wow. That is just 430. This is a lighter car. I drove the Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat. Tons of power, 700 horsepower. But this is a much noticeably lighter car. So that 435 horsepower, it feels like a lot. I mean, that hits you. Wow, that's all you can say after you experience that. Try not to get in an accident at all here, so use turning signals and all that good stuff. So the ride quality on this car, it's a little on the firm side, but not too bad for daily driving. I can feel a lot of communication. Definitely for spirited driving, it feels pretty good. The sound, oh, that V8 howl. This car has 400 foot-pounds of torque from this V8 engine, and that equates to a lot of acceleration very quickly. So I'm pretty happy with it. I think Ford's done quite a job. This particular one doesn't have sync or anything, but overall everything's good. The dash, I have to say they've upgraded the dash. Stuff doesn't feel quite as plasticky as the last one. I've checked out the 2014 a while back when we checked out the 2014 and the Dodge Challenger 2014 and also the Camaro 2014, and I felt like the Mustang of all of them was the most lacking in having all its options. The quality of the interior especially didn't feel that good. This one, it's got some nice stuff on the seats. Even though this is the cloth interior, it actually isn't a bad interior. It's got little vinyl or leather accents, and even some of the plastic makes it look like it's leather. So it actually works pretty well. I mean, for the price, I think it's somewhere around the $30,000 range, of 35. But yeah, 435 horsepower for in that range. I mean, the back seat is a little small, but that's traditional Mustang Camaro, you know, you can get your friends back there, but it's not a comfortable place for, you know, adults, and not even that comfortable for a lot of children. Now, the biggest problem you're going to have is you don't get to use this V8 enough in daily driving, because you're driving on the roads, there's too much traffic, and you know, you're just kind of not able to move as much as you'd like. Overall though, I've got to say I'm pretty impressed with what Ford's done here with this new Mustang. I gotta say, you know, they've come into the 21st century, modern century. It's a little plasticky here and there, but it's not bad. They've actually covered up anything that looks like plastic, so it all gives the appearance of a fine car. And now you're not going to expect an interior like you get in, say, a Porsche or that. You're not paying that kind of money, but compared to, say, the Dodge Challenger or the Camaro, I think it's up to par with the rest of the muscle cars. Gas mileage isn't the best in the city on this car. It's only like 15 miles per gallon or 16. So, you know, there's that. But if you're buying this V8, don't expect to get good gas mileage. I mean, that's just part of the, why would you buy that car and expect to get this great gas mileage, right? So this is quite a machine. Like I said, I'm actually pretty impressed so far. You get on the freeway and step on it, and I only got to about 4,000 RPMs. It red lines at 6,500. So I didn't even push it that hard, and the car pushes you back in the seat, enough power to do that, and didn't feel squirrely in the back end like some of the older ones with that solid rear axle. Independent rear suspension, I think if you ever decide to take it on a track, is going to really, really be nice. And now the sound is just amazing. The only thing that's bad with this one is it's in pull me over red, so you do have to watch your speed a bit, because cops will be watching for this. I mean, they can hear it coming. But you know, if you drive, we can turn it into, if you put it into some higher gears, you're not going to use as many revolutions. Maybe it can quiet down, but when you're having a little more fun, it growls. And the sound inside the cabin is really nice. Not sure if this is picking up all that sound, but it's just a pleasant sound. This is the kind of car that I could see you driving every day and enjoying it every day, and then occasionally on the weekend do a track day with it. With that independent rear suspension, it should handle pretty well. Even the newer Mustangs, they've done pretty well with the live suspension, 2014 and stuff, but this new setup is really something. And this gives you a small taste of what the GT350 has. I mean, that car is amazing when you consider just how powerful that is. That's going to be over 500 horsepower. This one's only 435, and I am sucked back in my seat with this. So like I said, I've driven the Dodge Challenger Hellcat. Great car. I love that car. 700 horsepower on the road. You can't really use this. I feel like I can use more of this 435 horsepower, and the car's lighter, so it feels like you're just going fast. Like when you push down on that accelerator, it's like not much else. It's, yes, in a straight line. I mean, it's a muscle car, so straight line, it's going to be incredible. And most of our driving in the United States is going to be city driving in a straight line, so you don't feel like you're just beating everyone off the line. Now the light clutch does take some getting used to, I'll have to admit. I'm not used to it yet, but it feels nice. Steering feels good, solid. I'm getting a decent amount of feedback. I personally like a little bit more than what this is giving me, but it's not a bad amount. So, you know, you get decent amount of feedback in the steering wheel, and definitely plenty in your butt. So your rear end, you can feel every bump on the road, and it really helps communicate. So should you buy a Mustang GT if you're in the market for, if you got around $35,000, depending on your options? Yes, you should buy a Mustang GT. And I want to thank the folks at Lithia Ford Lincoln again for letting me drive it. Those great guys. If you're in the Central California area, check out their dealership, because they've got quite a selection of these cars. And for me, they've been extremely helpful. and letting me test drive this thing and put it through its paces. Now, hopefully we'll get to drive one on the track soon, but this is an all right first drive. If I was in the market right now, I'd probably go in and buy it. So I'm pretty impressed.